Here's one. All right. Whoa. Jumper. Hello everyone. Neil here with Campfire Kodiak. Today I'm going to teach you how to fly fish for Dolly Varden in Alaska. This is one of my very favorite activities. To learn about the fascinating species, visit the Alaska Department of Fish and Game's website. This is a treasure trove of information on the life cycle of the Dolly Varden. So here are some of the interesting facts. Dolly Varden are super versatile. They can live in both fresh and salt water and often go back and forth several times in a year. This ability is referred to as anadromous. They can live in lakes, streams, bays, and the ocean. There are two types, the northern form and the southern form. The southern form is what I'm mostly familiar with here in Kodiak. They overwinter primarily in lakes, but sometimes in deep pools and streams. The northern form will often overwinter in large rivers, and often these fish are larger than the southern form. Dollies are a type of char. Technically, there are 51 species of char. These can overlap ranges. A typical year cycle of a Dolly Varden looks like this. They spend the winter under the fresh ice in lakes. In the spring they migrate to the ocean from their winter lake, typically at ice out. They will cruise the ocean in schools along the coast, feeding heavily in bays, tidal areas, sandy and gravel beaches, and stream mouths. They return to the streams in mid-July and wait for the salmon. Dollies will feed heavily on salmon eggs. Dollies always spawn in the fall in the same stream that they were born. This is not necessarily the same river-lake system that they overwinter in. Half of males and females will die after spawning their first time. Some spawn 2 or 3 times in a life cycle, some none at all. After spending the summer and fall in the stream, they will often go back out to the ocean and search for a stream with a lake to overwinter in. On the Kodiak Road system, most Dolly Varden overwinter in Buskin Lake. This is because the other streams on the road system do not have a large enough lake needed for survival. Okay, here are some fishing tips. You can intercept dollies as they are leaving the lake in the spring. Often they will stop at the river mouth to feed on salmon fry and smolt. May, June, and early July is an excellent time to fish for dollies on the beaches at high tide. Look for surface feeding. What I'll do is I have my favorite beaches that I know that dollies frequent. I'll just go down to the beach at high tide and just wait, and you'll see them like splashing at the surface or trying to feed, or maybe they'll be like bait fish trying to escape. You just cast your fly rod over there and it can get fast and furious. The end of July and early August is a magical time for dolly fishing. I prefer to fish for dollies in the streams early before the pink salmon return. This is my very favorite way to catch Dolly Varden. The sooner you intercept them, the easier they are to catch, and the less salmon there are that you might accidentally hook into or snag. They often stop eating in the streams until salmon are laying eggs. Dollies are aggressive biters, so they'll often be easy to catch, but the big ones can be very difficult. Big dollies are not stupid. Okay, let's talk about fly fishing. Okay, so when you approach a stream, dollies are very easily spooked, so you want to keep your distance. Don't walk right along the bank. And sometimes I will walk through the woods and go upstream. And I get way upstream of them so that when I cast I can just let out a whole bunch of line. And this way you can get your fly to the dolly without them ever seeing you. So sometimes I'll put out my entire fly line just to get down to the dollies. The secret of catching dollies is to trigger their love of the chase. Yes, they love to chase. So using a fast retrieve works really great. Stripping in the fly quickly upstream after fishing a section often works very well. Swinging a wet fly downstream is very effective and my very most favorite method of all. It's super fun. Feeling the take on a tight line is very satisfying. I like to use unweighted classic wet flies. You can use other flies, and I often do, but given the choice, these are my very favorite. They're fun to tie, and I love their history. They sink quickly, and they're super easy to cast. Just everything about them I love, and the dollies love them too. Dollies will happily rise to the surface to take your fly as long as the fly starts down deeper and then rises up to the surface.
Look how pretty these fish are.
So this is why you can get away with unweighted flies.
Beautiful.
Dolly Varden in particular love any fly on a swing. Even a sloppy technique is often rewarded, such as dragging a fly while you're wading to shore. And no fly swings better or does it with as much grace as a classic wet fly. I love using the patterns that were invented hundreds of years ago just to make things interesting. These flies, invented in Europe and New England, were designed for trout and salmon. They were used with horsehair or silk fly lines and rods of various woods and later bamboo split cane. The first metal hooks were handmade by the fishermen with bent needles. So I just get a kick out of using these flies. Where to find dollies? Look for straight runs with tail outs on a stream. They like wide sections of stream with uniform flow and gravel bottoms. 3 feet or more is ideal, but sometimes as shallow as 1 to 2 feet. Dollies are school fish, but they like their space, so they're not grouped up tight together like salmon can be. Personally, I don't waste my time fishing river bends, swirling water, or deep pools. Yes, they do hold some fish, but in my opinion, it's difficult to fish for these fish, and there's plenty of other easier places to fish for them. The biggest dollies will often hide in the brush on straight sections of stream. This way the eagles can't get them. In addition to the classic wet flies, I also like to use flesh flies, small streamers, and shrimp patterns. Now, the most effective pattern is the bead, but I stopped using them because I found it to be boring. And to me, fishing is something I do for enjoyment. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let's watch some more underwater fish and fishing. Until next time, this is Neil on Campfire Kodiak signing out. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to ring the bell. Thank you, and if you're ever in Kodiak in July or August, look me up. I work at the Alaska Department of Fish and Game. I'll take you fly fishing if I'm available. Take care.
Man, so close. Okay, I got a good feeling about this one right here. Oh, 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 oh. Dang it.